So what I usually share when I, get questions about the topic of teens is, just from my perspective, I just have this amazing vision of what this could be like. So imagine for all of you who have teenage daughters, or if there's teens watching, or if you might have a teenage daughter someday. So okay, so imagine that your teenage daughter, you teach her about her cycle. You teach her that ovulation is this incredible function that is how you make your hormones. And you teach her that as you go through your menstrual cycle, your moods and your energy may shift depending on where you are in your cycle. So you may feel a bit more tired and you may want to kind of hang out by yourself a little bit more when you're on your period. But as you approach ovulation, you might feel like you have more energy and be more creative. And you might feel kind of more outgoing during that time. And you might find that after ovulation, you kind of start to feel a little less outgoing. And just kind of talk about this. You could use the analogy of the seasons of the year, menstruation being winter, before ovulation being spring, ovulation being summer, and then kind of post ovulation being the fall. And so, imagine what that could be like for a teen to kind of really realize how their cycle, not to say we're ruled by our hormones, but how it can affect us and affect our moods, and how we can then, just organize our schoolwork or exercise routines around it. And then imagine if you told her that you could predict when your period is coming. So you never have to be scared. You never have to be at school, terrified that you might bleed that day, and be in class and have that embarrassing thing. I mean, for a teenage girl, it's like the most possible embarrassing thing. Imagine if you told her that by tracking your cervical fluid. So again, cervical fluid is like creamy white hand lotion or the clear, stretchy cervical fluid. Imagine if you told her that if she paid attention to when she had cervical fluid in her cycle, when it stopped, so when the cervical fluid dried up, that her period would come, 12 to 14 days later. And imagine if you told her, like, you can always predict your period if you track your cycles. So I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I did not know this information. I remember I started making cervical fluid. Obviously, I didn't know that that's what it was at the time. And I asked my mom, but basically was like, why do I feel wet all the time? And she was like, just wear panty liners. And that was literally the end of that. So imagine what it would have been like. A lot of girls go on the pill because they absolutely do not want to be surprised by their period. So um, I guess the main message that I'm sharing is that beyond whether or not a girl decides to even consider using fertility awareness for birth control, there's a lot of applications of fertility awareness for information. And even if she chooses to go on birth control at some point in the future, she'll always have that knowledge about her body that she gained through learning to chart when she was a teen.